Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited to tell you about this podcast. It's called The DK Project, but it's really The Darren Show. The DK Project is a radio show, but without the radio. So sit back, buckle up, and enjoy the ride.
Let's go! All right. Welcome back to The DK Project. You're liking that opening song, huh?
I know. I was like, this is nice.
It's the least I can do. I got to switch to headphones here. I got to go to cans.
Oh, look at that.
Otherwise, I'm getting a little feedback.
Fancy lingo.
On today, yeah, well, not really. On today's show, we've got Liz Priestley. She is. Are you related to Jason Priestley?
You know what? You're also the first person that's ever asked me that. And
you've just been waiting. You've got an answer.
Tell that lie. For years, he used to tell that lie because I'm adopted. My parents are white, so I could sell it a little bit.
All right.
Yeah, I was like, he's a fifth cousin, twice removed type of thing, try to make it sound official. I don't think that there is any actual official evidence that we're related, but
you never know. You never know.
It's not a super common last name. So maybe somewhere but I don't think.
This is a good time to run my 23andMe commercial, huh? That'll tell you. Then you'll know.
Exactly.
Then you'll know what's up. That's awesome. So Liz is a actress, and I also found something interesting in here.
Mm-hmm.
You do a little opera singing.
I sure do, yeah.
That is awesome. How? Okay.
Yeah.
So now we got to start at the beginning. Where you're from Philadelphia? Where are you from originally?
Yeah. Well, yeah, just outside of Philadelphia in a town called Abington. And born and raised. And I do. I'm a musician. I'm a singer and
so did you go to school for that?
I went to school for musical theater, actually. I went to Ithaca College in upstate.
Ithaca.
Everyone says, where's Ithaca? And then they go, is that where Cornell is? And I'm like, yes.
Do you have a sweatshirt?
I do. I'm not. This is not the Ithaca one.
I've always wanted an Ithaca sweatshirt.
No, and in fact, this says William Tennant High School, which is it's a high school in my area that I did not go to. I found this sweatshirt at like a Rite Aid one day when I was cold, and I bought it. And every time I wear it, people are like, William Tennant. I'm like, no affiliation. None.
Nope,
Sorry.
Nope.
They were just selling it.
It sounds to me like you're sending a lot of mixed messages to everyone.
They're like, this Priestley,
wait a minute. No Jason Priestley? No high school? What?
I'm a mystery.
So tell me this, Liz. How is it that I know about Ithaca and I want an Ithaca sweatshirt? It was in a show. It's very popular.
Maybe the movie Road Trip.
Is that what it is? Yes. I love that show.
So yeah, that was the other. So it's either
it is. You're right.
Is that where Cornell is, or is that where Road Trip was? And I go, it is where Cornell is. It was Ithaca University, which does not exist, and it was filmed on a college in Miami. So It wasn't filmed where we were either.
I love it.
Yeah, that's what everybody knows it from. They're like, oh my God, Road Trip. And I'm like, no, Ithaca College.
That was a great movie.
But yeah,
so
that's the one.
Just another strange thing that is in your life. How do you get up in the morning, man? You got like
full
a lot of mysteries.
And, just full of mysteries.
So when you get done with the musical theater at Ithaca University, no, they were Ithaca University. You were Ithaca College.
Yes, I'm Ithaca College. Yes, we were Ithaca College.
I tried so hard to get it right. So
I know.
Then what?
That movie did us some harm.
You should get a little kickback when you wear the sweatshirt. You should have worn it today. We could have got you money. So tell me now, where do we go from Ithaca? What happens? What do we do?
Like I said, I went for musical theater, graduated, I moved to New York. I was in Queens and then Brooklyn for a little while. And I was working, in theater as an actress. And then I actually did a national tour of a musical. That was cool. And then I moved back to Philly and was doing theater here in New York, sometimes in DC, Baltimore area, occasionally Atlanta, that kind of thing, but basically based here because my family's here. I raised my daughter here. And Yeah, I've been doing theater for about 25 years, but it was always, at every stage, it was always, the goal was, I need to get to film. So everything I'm doing now is to get me to that point. So whether it was, look, I have no credits on my resume, let me sign up for as many plays as I can so I can put that work on there. Or I need to do this play because I know, this director knows this director and that's who I want to work with, or, whatever it was. But it was always with the goal of, this is just a stepping stone to get to what I really want to do. And even musical theater was like that in college. It was like, I'm doing this because I want the complete training, but I know ultimately I want to make movies.
Wow.
Yeah. And then about 2 years ago, I stopped working 9-to-5 jobs. I finally said, okay, I think I have enough money saved so I can make this push. And I found a manager and I started auditioning for films and commercials, and I got a few commercials.
Really?
And then, yeah, I it was funny. It was like 3 months after I signed with her, I got my first commercial, which was very cool.
Well, I'm gonna need
and then
her
I got
name.
2 more. Yeah, then I got 2 more. And then last summer, she sent me a script for a movie. She said, you got an audition for this. And I auditioned a couple times, and then I got it last August. So
That's
I made my film debut last August.
Really? So,
Yes.
Did it get released before the pandemic, or have you had to do the pandemic release?
No, it's so it made its official kind of first release, I guess, at the Toronto Film Festival about a month ago.
Okay.
And then last Friday, it debuted at another film festival, the Middleburg Film Festival. But we're still awaiting an official release because, we shot it in over 29-ish days in August. And at that point, the pandemic was not even a thing.
Right.
So we're shooting. We're like, this is going to be great. Like, your parents are going to be able to go in a theater and see your face. Like, it was like a whole thing.
Big.
Yeah. And then, a couple months later, it was like, And then it was like, theaters closed. Everything closed.
I better cash this check quick.
Yeah. It was like, okay. Yeah. So,
I don't have to give the money back, do I?
Yeah. I mean, it's like, okay. So that put a wrench in some things, but there's a lot of opportunity still because of, streaming services and everybody being home. So I don't know yet if that's where it's going to end up. I would have a feeling probably, but also I know some people have been in talks and negotiations. So we'll see what happens. But I have not seen it yet.
Oh,
I haven't
really?
seen it yet. I just have the pictures and the memories.
That's it. Well, you think you'd be in on that, being able to watch it, right? Did you have a big part?
I did have a big part.
Oh.
Yeah. So that was the funny thing about this. So, normally when people make a film debut, right, they're, shopper number 4 in the background, or they might have, one line, the camera might pan over them and they go, hey, where's my waiter or something. And that's like your big break. Right. Yeah. But I'll tell you, so when I got the script, all I knew was that it was a mother and she was having a very hard time. And it said in the script, she looks like she's lived a hard life. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. So I do my first round of auditions. And in the back of my head somewhere, I'm going, I know that there's like a series shooting in Philadelphia right now. There's a movie shooting in Philadelphia in the future. I know Idris Elba's involved. I don't know anything about that movie. Then I get a call back. And at that point, I'm looking at the script and I'm starting to hear more about this movie that Idris Elba's doing. And I'm reading it and I'm like, so the story is about a 15-year-old boy. That's not Idris Elba. So who's Idris Elba in this movie? I think he's the father of the boy. I'm reading for the mother of the boy.
Well,
That's weird. So then I go,
connection.
Yeah, so then I go, well, then they must be looking for a stand-in for, like, I don't know, Kerry Washington to play the mother of the boy or something. So I'm like, oh, that's nice. They're considering me for a stand-in. That's cool. I'm going to keep doing my thing. Then I get another call back. And at that point, it was like, no, Liz, they're looking at you for this.
Wow.
Like there's discussions now because the director is like, I want her. And at least one producer was like, we should bring in a name. Let's call Carrie. I don't know. But, we should bring in a name. So there was some, back and forth or whatever. But then ultimately I got the part. So the part is I'm playing the wife of Idris Elba and the mother of Caleb McLaughlin, who stars on Stranger Things. So this was not, shopper number 4 in the background. It was like,
Okay. Well, I got questions.
I'm up on horses with Caleb and Idris, and we're, riding, and it was like a whole thing.
I got a whole bunch of questions here. Now, this movie, this is Concrete Cowboys. That's the one you're talking about? That's the title?
Concrete Cowboy. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm relating this to myself. I don't want to say struggling. I'm a voiceover actor.
Okay.
Who couldn't live on the money he makes voice acting. Let's say it that way. That's polite. But I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Much like you like acting. So my first question is this.
Okay.
When you go in there and they say, no, we don't want Carrie, Liz, we're looking at you for this lead part.
Yes.
First thought that goes through your head is?
There's not a snowball's chance in hell. You're looking at me.
Okay. So that thought, and then now you say, okay, thank you for letting me audition. And then
I was basically, thank you for letting me live the dream of pretending like I'm actually up for this part. I really, I was focused at that point on really impressing the casting director because I had known her, before. She had seen me before. She'd called me in for a few things before. And, but they were always very happy. Like, I call them Target moms, like those commercials where they're like, it's back to school shopping, like those ones. And I wanted her to see like, Liz can do the dramatic stuff too. Cause everything in the audition scenes, cause it's changed a bit from the character that I end up playing in the movie. Her character changed a bit. But the scene that they were having me do was this emotional, like I'm being evicted type of thing. So I was like, I really just want her to know I can do these. Because again, I'm like, there's no way that they're seriously considering me.
Well,
like, I don't even want to get my hopes up because I'm like, there's no way. You know what I mean? It really wasn't until that last time that I was like, really?
So question number 2, you have the initial thought that this is bullshit. This isn't really happening. And then you walk out the door from the audition and you kind of look around to see if anybody's looking. Is that a jump up fist pump thing? Or is that like a I got to catch my breath here? I mean, what is your first reaction when you're by yourself going, this could really happen? Like, is that a large Starbucks?
No, it's like, because I've been trained to, you go in, you do the audition, and then you walk out and forget about it. Because if you hang your hopes on every audition, you're just going to be disappointed.
Yeah, but they said they were interested this time. They said well, this is a strong maybe.
But by the third time around, at that point, I was like, I really want this.
Yeah.
And I usually get a feeling, if I really, really want something, if I really care about it, I feel like I've got it for some reason. And I didn't feel that until the very end of that. But it was like that last audition, I walked out of there and I was like, I felt good about that. I felt
so
good
then
about
maybe
that.
A little jump fist pump?
Regardless of what happens, they know that I can do something. You know what I mean? And so I was just like, whatever happens, now the director knows at least I'm consistent. So maybe in the future, maybe he'll call me, but the casting person knows that like, okay, she can handle this. But when she called me to tell me that I got the part, I had to ask her about 12 times. Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure?
Can I get this in writing positive? Right now?
Yeah. Cause I mean, she called me, I probably shouldn't say this. She was supposed to call me on a Monday. She called me on a Saturday, like after she got out of the call kind of thing. Cause she was so excited. And I was just like, Diane, are you sure? Diane, are you sure? You're not messing with me around, right? You're sure? And she's like, Liz, it's yours. And I was like, okay. And I got off the phone and I was fine. And then when I called my parents to tell them was when I cried, because they were on a cruise. They were like in the middle of the ocean. I kept calling and they're like, no answer. It was like my 5th time calling. They finally like, hello, it was like, that's when awesome. I freaked out. For that, I was like, okay.
So at what stage of the auditioning did you think, do I play the Jason Priestley card now or do I hold on to it? Do I save that? That's my trump card.
It's so funny. The audition room is probably the one place where that question has never come up. But I mean, I used to tell anybody, oh, that's my doorbell, by the way. I used to tell anybody that would listen that, oh, yeah, he's my cousin. We had this project, right, in middle school where you had to like write to a celebrity. It was like a whole thing where we were like, you got to practice writing to a celebrity.
No, you didn't.
We did. Or you could write to a celebrity or a company, but it was to practice letter writing. So we had this whole thing where we, because everybody in my class was like, well, if the choice is a company or a celebrity, I'm going with the celebrity.
Right.
So we had a day where we got to research everybody's like, it was always, I think it was like an agent's address. I don't think anyone had a personal whatever. But I chose Jason Priestley. I was like, I've got to. Who else?
Did you have your 90210 shirt on?
What's that?
Did you have your 90210 shirt on?
Oh my gosh. I had like a little biography of him and Luke Perry that had like all these pictures in it. And I had like written all over so I like sent a little Polaroid of me with the book. Oh, I was into it. And then I got like an autographed picture back. So I don't even know if he ever saw it or if that was like an assistant that was like, here you go. I don't know.
There's another one.
I told him in my letter, I was like, I hope you don't mind, but I tell people we're related. I don't know if he minds. I'm sorry, Jason Priestley, if you do mind, but I do. I used to tell people, I mean, probably up until I was like, I don't know, 20.
Just wait. Someday you'll be on a movie with them and you can just tell them that they might as well just put our names up together because they're related. So,
or if he wants to call me to do a movie with him, that'd be great.
Anything.
I mean,
a coffee, anything.
Priestley, right? I mean, I could see it. Like,
it could be a cop thing, like a Priestley and Priestley, or law.
Exactly.
Could be law. So anyway, back to this.
But the question is, who plays Priestley?
Well, we'll have to see. We'll have to see who can draw their gun better as a cop. Okay, so back to my initial questions.
Yes.
Now, you could totally say no if you want, but I have to ask because I'm somewhat in the business, but not really. So you get this call, and this is a big deal. This isn't like the lady in the back of the grocery store. This is like a real part with lines. You're gonna have clothes, wardrobe changes. Which, by the way, when they're evicting you, do you have the Ithaca sweatshirt on? Is that perfect?
Like I said, that changed because and I don't know. I keep wondering. I'm like, did it change because I wasn't convincing enough in the audition, and you just liked my personality, or did you change it because you wanted to go back to the source material? Because it's actually based on a book, but. In the audition, she was a drug addict being evicted. She was just like in a really difficult stage in her life. And in the movie, they took all of that out and they were like, she's a nurse, she's professional, she's just a mom at the end of her rope. And I was like, oh, all right. So I was always like, did I not convince you as an addict? I don't know.
You cannot ask.
I don't know. Or were they like, you know what? This doesn't need to be there. We've seen it a million times. So let's
maybe you just don't play a very good drug addict. Maybe you're not a convincing drug addict.
I mean, that's okay.
That's
I'm
a strong
okay with
spot.
That. That's fine.
So my question is this: you get the call, and obviously, blah 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 blah. Are we talking like is this 1 month's rent? Is this 6 months rent? Are we paying the year rent? I mean,
this was about maybe 2 months of rent for me.
All right.
Yeah.
That's
which
cool.
is fine. I don't care.
You got a really nice place too.
A lot of people keep saying like, "Oh, you were with Idris? Like, oh, you must have been making bank, girl." I was like, "That money's already gone." Like, what?
Once it goes through the filter system.
No, it was a low budget, film, but it had some top name, people in there. I don't quite know how that all works yet, because this is the film that allowed me to join SAG, and so I'm still like, oh, I get to see the Oscar movies before what
life goals.
But yeah, I was like, yeah, they called me up like the day before I had to go on set for my first day, and they were like, you realize you're a must join now? And I was like, I'm sorry, what? They're like, yeah, you can't set foot on set until you make I was like, oh, let me make sure I do that right now.
I don't even know what that is.
So,
you have to join before they let you in?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, the club.
Welcome to the club. See what I did there? Club.
Yeah, they were like, no, this is, because the commercials I had done prior, I wasn't keeping track, but the commercials I had done prior were SAG. So they were like, oh, you've done your 3 things. Now you've got to join, or else, you can't get on. And it's funny because then they called me. I was doing a commercial in Uruguay for Safe Auto. And they called me.
You went to Uruguay to do a commercial? That probably cost more than what you got paid on the commercial. Where the hell's Uruguay? I've heard of it.
South America. I couldn't figure it out. We were like, wait a minute. You're taking us to South America. Why? And they were like, it's actually cheaper to shoot here, to double as New York than to shoot in New York. I was like, so
because
it's
of the
cheaper
permits
for
and
you
shit? Yeah.
to fly me to South America and back.
Really?
Okay.
Vacation.
Sure. I was like, what is my life? But no, I was down there. They were like, when you come back, you need to make sure that because 2 days from now, you got to be on set. So I was like,
So you've done a lot of commercials?
Just 3.
Oh.
Yeah.
Safeco, did you say?
I did Safe Auto.
Safe Auto.
Yeah, I don't know where. I don't know if you're based on the East Coast, or in Philadelphia. But
I'm flyover
so
country.
Say again.
I'm middle country, Minneapolis.
Oh, so yeah, so you probably wouldn't have seen them. They were for the Pennsylvania lottery.
Oh,
and
were you a winner?
Yeah, that was wild. Because I don't know if you've seen those commercials. There's a talking groundhog in ours. So that was interesting because I finally got to meet him. Yeah, it was weird.
You got to meet the groundhog?
I got to meet the groundhog guy. Yeah, his license plate is like Gus the Groundhog. I was like, this guy is so cool. Yeah, it's random.
Oh, because
so I did that. And then the Safe Auto one was really funny because it's like a bunch of construction workers yelling at each other about the Safe Auto deals. And then a cop walks in and she's like, how y'all doing? I played the cop. But the fun part about that commercial was, besides the fact that they flew us down to Uruguay and back, was that, they we're down there and literally we're shooting outside for about 12 hours in about 47 degrees-ish weather. And all the other guys, there were 4 of us, the 3 other guys, they all lost their voices that day.
So you had to stay longer?
No, we were all there and we all had to do it equal times. It's because, and I'm telling you, it's because of the opera training that I had. because you learn to use your voice differently. So whenever you yell, you're not yelling from here, you're yelling from, your diaphragm.
Wow.
They were all yelling from here and they all lost their voice by the end of the day. And I was just like, he's saying he needs another cup of tea. Do we have that? He needs a blanket. Is that okay? You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh. It sounds like you've hit all the fun ones. Yeah. No bad experiences yet? Come on.
Not yet. I've been really blessed. I've been very blessed. I mean, how bad is it? You get to sit around chit-chatting with Idris Elba on a horse. I mean, how bad can it be?
Is that who's in your kitchen right now banging pots and pans around?
No. I'm sorry. There's a problem with my internet, so I have a technician here helping me out. But I'm surprised I'm still online, actually.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, no, this is good.
You might have led with that in the beginning that I might go blank here at any point.
No.
Oh,
right
no
now, my connection is strong. I'm
you're charged
positive.
up.
No,
I like it.
Hey, everybody. We're still in a pandemic, but the good news is we're cutting hair again. The hair studio in Chaska is open for business, rocking and rolling. So if you've kind of let her go over these last 6 months of the pandemic, time to get it trimmed up, curled up, colored up. Let's go. Located in Chaska at 500 North Pine Street, Chaska, Minnesota. Give them a call. They'll take care of any of your needs if you need to get that old pandy shag cut down. 952-368-0900. Now back to the show.
As a recovering insurance guy and a property owner, I know the value of a good restoration company. When something goes wrong, you want to know you got somebody you can count on. Say you have storm damage, or it could be water, fire, any kind of damage. Don't take the insurance companies on alone. Call Grady Restoration. Let's be honest, you wouldn't go to court without a lawyer. Why would you try and deal with these huge insurance companies all by yourself? Bring in the professionals at Grady Restoration. There's a lot of pop-ups, storm chasers. Go with the company you can trust. With over 26 years in the industry, you make one call, they'll handle it all. Securing the property, the adjuster, the repairs, the paperwork, and everything in between. They've done a few projects for me and I couldn't be happier. I didn't have to do anything. If you're not sure if you have storm damage, make the call. They'll come out, take a look, and let you know what your options are. Take the stress out of a stressful situation. Call the pros at Grady Restoration. For a free consultation, call 763-238-8127 or check them out on the web at gradyrestoration.com. Don't forget to tell them you heard about it on the DK Project.
Welcome back to the DK Project.
Hey, you were talking about the groundhog thing. That whole Punxsutawney Phil shit comes from Philadelphia, doesn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
From Philly, yeah.
Now we've made a connection.
From Philly, yeah.
There we go. What about the opera now? What are we doing with that? Are we active in the opera world, or are we just kind of
not so much anymore? And it's funny because people around here that I grew up with, and that, they all know me as a singer. And so when I started posting on Facebook about this movie coming out, people were just like, huh?
What?
Like, wait, okay, are you singing still? I haven't done as much lately. For me, singing was a really fun hobby, but it was always a hobby, and acting was always the passion. So I hope one day to maybe use it a little bit more, but right now I'm okay with that being on the back burner.
Is there any money in
I've
opera?
just been really focused on the film. But that being said, every other commercial that I auditioned for, they're like, and please sing. And I'm like, all right, so I'm still using it. I just did one yesterday. I auditioned for one where I had to sing a whole bunch. So you never know. I mean, it never leaves you.
Is there any money in it? Is there any money in singing or being in an opera or anything?
Yeah, there's opportunities. Yeah. If I really wanted to go that direction and really wanted to like make money, I would maybe like put out an album or something like that. But I just don't love it as much as I probably should to spend that kind of money or put in that kind of time.
It's good to have in your back pocket, though. I mean, it's not. I think the internet guy's robbing you right now. It sounds like he's reading a lot of stuff.
No, he's fine.
Where's your TV? Hey, put that down.
He's fine. You're doing great. Thank you so much.
I don't know. Obviously, your internet's working because we're talking.
It's working. No, we're good.
He keeps running to the van. I don't know why. So what's on the horizon? What are we looking at? We got more movies coming, or what do we got?
Yeah, I mean, well, in the immediate future, because of COVID, everything really shut down. And then even the shows or the movies that you hear about where they started up productions again, half of them shut down again. So I really don't know what's going to happen with that. In the meantime, I'm doing some writing of my own that I'm really trying to get those projects off the ground. So I'm working on a web series and a feature film that I'm hoping to get, on the internet somewhere.
Yeah.
And then I'm teaching and, auditioning my butt off and hoping that other opportunities come my way. But it's hard right now. I mean, really, I know Idris Elba is shooting another Western right now. And I think I read yesterday production shut down because someone tested positive.
Were you guys exchange numbers? You're tight now?
I mean, I might have. No, it's funny. I texted Caleb like a couple months ago because I saw him on Lip Sync Battle and he was dancing and he like ripped his shirt open and I texted him. I was like, Caleb, it's your mother. Put your shirt on.
What?
But he didn't respond. So.
Well, he's probably embarrassed that he's on Lip Sync.
I know. He probably was like, mother who? What?
Shit. She found me. She found me on this show. I had to pay the rent. What about when you're auditioning now, are you doing any auditions in person or is it all over Zoom?
Most of them are over. I don't think I've had an in-person audition since, I don't even know. Yeah, most of them are either on Zoom or they have now, like I forget the casting service. It might be Actors Access, but there's like a thing on there now where you can do auditions live over
Really?
Zoom. But most of them are like self-tape auditions, at home where I just got to be, in front of my backdrop being like, hi, I'm Liz Priestley and blah, blah, blah. It's like, it loses something, I know even when you audition in person, you're still on camera. They have a camera on you and whatever, but it loses something when you're not in the room, So I do miss that.
Yeah.
I don't know what the solution for that is. I mean,
I don't think there is one. I think you just have to ride it out. We've got, obviously something's going to happen here with the COVID situation and they're going to get it under control. We just have to give it time and ride it out, and hope for the best.
Yeah. I mean, they've got certain measures in place and, I get those emails from SAG all the time that like so-and-so production, they're requiring I don't know, temperature checks every hour and blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, I realize they're doing what they can. It's interesting though, because like, I'm always wanting to be creating, you know what I mean? And so this whole situation, has made me feel in a way that like our creativity is almost like at a halt in some ways, because it's like we can't produce the content that we want to produce. So
sounds like you need a podcast.
I've been thinking about it.
Well, you can
I've been thinking about it.
I chime in on the DK project anytime.
Yeah, I've seen sort of a close idea, but I'm sort of taking that idea and moving it in a different direction. But I will say, all right, so now, what is this? My fourth week maybe doing podcasts. I have a newfound respect for what you guys do. I had no idea all the work that actually goes into doing a podcast. So I was like, I had this idea. Now I'm like, oh,
Who told you it's a lot of work? Someone was selling you that?
Yeah, I had a couple people tell me. They're like, oh man, I got to use this program and that program. I got to make sure I set this and I got to do. And I'm listening. Everybody has a different intro and outro.
Well, those are obviously not on the level that we are. We've got this thing rolling like a steam train. It's gravy. It's easy. No, it's funny because I was actually just at a brewery for a fundraiser the other day. And this guy that I know, he owns a gym in town, and he's like, hey, I just bought all this podcast equipment. And I'm like, well, what are you going to do with it? He goes, I don't know. Maybe I'll do a podcast. I'm like, Oh, so it's.
I don't know what I'm gonna do with this. You just bought it,
right? I'm like, you should have called. I could have maybe. I said you could. You're like a mile from me. You can come use my studio anytime. I said, but it's because of the pandemic. Like there are millions of podcasts out there, and it's become so competitive that I was at the coffee shop. I don't know. This is probably a year ago, and the lady was like, "Yeah, I just started a podcast. I have a microphone in my car, so when I'm driving in my commute, I record it there." And I'm like, "Well, what you're doing is different than what I'm doing."
Yeah, no, that's not a podcast. That's like I don't even know what to call that.
That's called a voice memo.
That's the thing. It's like the pandemic. I'm glad that in the midst of all this terrible, stuff going on, that people are like feeling the creative, the juices flowing, and they're like, "Ooh, this is a good time to get my ideas out there and everything." But like, there's a limit.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a limit.
Yeah.
I'm not going to listen to anyone that has a microphone mounted somewhere in their car talking about what they see when they drive. Like, that's
dear.
And it's like, also that's like distracted driving. I don't want to be on that. I don't want to be listening when you get into an accident because you're thinking about such and such and not driving.
Well,
like,
and you probably have seen this when you're auditioning for acting roles that a lot of people have a lot of time on their hands. So, hey, let's try acting, or let's try voice acting, or let's try podcasting.
Voice acting for sure. Yeah. I'm seeing tons and tons of stuff pop up, and people, everyone on Facebook now, they're like, I'm into voice acting. And I'm like, do you understand the process that's involved with voice acting? Because it's not just, I do crazy voices, I should be a voice actor. It's like, it's so much more than that.
I've been at it for just over 2 years. And and I had a little history in radio and whatever, but it is, I have a bunch of businesses. I get that whole entrepreneurial thing, but the voice acting is hard. And I have an enormous amount of money invested in quality demos, quality coaching, equipment, all this crap. And and I actually 6 months ago, I was looking for a podcast co-host. So I ran an ad on one of these acting sites. I think it was Backstage, just to see if I could find somebody. And the stuff that was submitted to me, and the you go and you check their reel, you check their demo to see what they have. Whew, it's bad. It's bad. It's like,
because everybody thinks that they can do it.
Right.
I'm like, if it was that easy, then everyone would be doing it.
Well, and I think right now they're trying. There were a couple where I was maybe like, did you record that in your car? Because it's just embarrassing. But it just makes mine look that much better. And I think if you get into this industry or the acting industry or sing, whatever, if you're worried about the competition, then you're in the wrong business. You got to do it for what you want. And as long as you're meeting your goals and chasing your dreams, that's really all that matters. The rest of it will just fall apart.
I agree. I mean, somebody said to me the other day, she was like, what advice would you give to up and coming actors? And I was like, well, I'm not really an expert, but I would just say, don't give up. If this is what you want to do, like, follow your dreams. It's going to get you to where you want to go.
Persistent. Gotta be persistent.
Be persistent. I mean, look, it's taken me 25 years to make my film debut. So,
well, and that,
it doesn't happen overnight. You just got to be consistent, be persistent.
Yep.
And just don't give up on it. I mean, somebody, when I was first allowed to announce that I was in this movie, on my Facebook, somebody commented, and it was somebody that I had gone to high school with, but we weren't in the same class, and I didn't really know her all that well. But she commented, she was like, I'm so happy to hear this, because I knew Liz, and I knew back then this is what she wanted to do. And I'm so happy she didn't give up. And I was just like, now see, that means something to me, because I didn't. And I had, along the way, people be like, I don't know, Liz. I don't know if you should really, I mean, come on. Like, if there's anything else you can do, you should, I mean, come on.
Don't quit the day job.
No, this is what I want.
It's so true. I I do a lot of real estate stuff, and I've been doing it for 25 years. And
Mhm.
along the way, people are like, well, I wouldn't do it that way. And I'm like, well, I have my plan, and you know, if it fails, it's on me. If it doesn't, then it's on me. But you know, and as long as you don't listen to anybody else, it's funny because I equate it a lot to like golf. I'm a horrible golfer. I don't hardly ever play. But when I play golf, I play 18 holes, and on that 18th hole, you usually just kill it. And
Yeah.
that's the golfer's way of getting you to come back. So when you go audition and you fail, how many times, not fail, but you don't get selected. And then
Right.
that one time you get it, you're like, oh yeah, this is a thing. This is a thing.
It's like, it makes it all worth it. Yeah, there's, you've heard the saying in our industry, for every 100 auditions you go on, you hear one yes.
You hear
That
one
means that you're
maybe.
hearing 99, nothings, meaning no's.
Ugh.
Because, in our industry, it's not even like you get a courtesy call or a letter. Thank you so much for auditioning for our production. Unfortunately, we've decided to go with another candidate. Like, wouldn't that be nice if we got rejection letters?
Yeah, you're not
No.
getting
The phone just doesn't ring. You know what I mean? So you gotta be able to take that. And that's why I said, what
phone
I've
working?
been trained to do is to go in, do your audition, and forget about it, because those 99 times that the phone doesn't ring, I can't be like, but this is the part of a lifetime, like, or you're just not gonna make it. You know what I mean?
No,
And
that's
it could
true.
very well be the part of a lifetime, but it could also be that you didn't get the part because you had a freckle on the right side of your face instead of the left side. Like, it's so out of your control and so arbitrary that it's like, I can't, for every role, I just can't.
Well,
and then, like you said, when then you get the role, when you get that one, you're just like, success.
Yes.
Like, it's just like, this is the best.
and you quickly forget, because the next day when you audition, you just hear crickets again, and
Yep.
it's a cycle. But if you have thick skin and you know that you're doing your plan and you're doing the best, because you're right, it's not, I didn't get that plan, I didn't get that audition because maybe I didn't play a good drug addict. It was probably because you have a mole on the wrong side of your face, or
Yeah,
you know what
yeah.
I mean? It could be
Yeah.
anything, and you just never know. It'd be nice if they'd send you something, but they get thousands of auditions, like, oh, your voice was a little pitchy, oh, you breathe too hard, or whatever,
Yeah, they don't have time
don't give a
to go
shit.
through everybody's,
Nope.
And it is nice when they let you know, like, oh, by the way, we didn't cast you because, blah, blah, blah. I think only one time I've actually gotten that feedback, and it was literally because
Oh, frozen in time. Where's the internet guy? It's kind of funny because if you're just listening to this online,
because
oh,
oh,
can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, you just totally froze, and I was ad-libbing because when it froze, you were like making these faces like you were really acting. But it froze for a second, and then I was talking, and then you went to this big smile, and I'm like, well, at least she's having fun, whatever she's doing. So anyway, what were you saying? Where's that internet guy? I want my money back.
I know, right? Come on. No, what was I saying? Oh, so that's really funny because now I'm trying to imagine what my face was doing.
Oh, you'll see. We'll be posting still pictures of that.
Wait, now what was I saying? What were we talking about right before that? See, this is me getting old.
I could tell you because I can rewind it, but I don't remember. I was so into the fact that you're. For those of you who are just listening to the audio, you're really missing out.
That is so funny. I remember what you were talking about.
Good.
Was so they don't always let you know
right.
like why you didn't get the part. And I was saying there was one time, the only time so far that I've ever heard why I didn't get a part, it was for a TV show, and they were like, we don't like her hairstyle, which is so ridiculous. But the only reason I found out was because they then called me back in like 2 months later to audition for a different part on the show. And they specifically asked, could I change my hair? And I was just like, yeah, I can change my, like, how do they
Don't they
give
have
me a
people for that?
style? Like, that's one of the great things about black hair is you can pretty much do anything you want to. You know?
Well, and don't they employ
what they
people
want,
to do
you
that
know?
for you? They pay people for that, right? Like they have people on set that'll fix that problem.
And I
That's
was
the
like,
problem.
Did I seem like not the kind of person that would be willing to change their hair for a part? Because I would. Like, you know, I've done theater plays where they've asked me, you know, I did a play where I was a character who was like from Africa. The setting was in Africa. And they were like, can you shave your head? And I was like, yeah, I could shave my head.
Did you
and
do
I did
it?
it. You know what I mean? It was
You
like
did.
a 12 performance thing. I didn't care. I was like, it's going to grow back. You know what I mean? Like, but it also, I felt like that helped my character. It played a part in, you know, where she was in her life because she
Wow.
happened to be someone who was on the run. You know what I mean? So I was like, yeah, I'll shave my head.
I think it's
So-
really cool that you bring that up because when they sent over the pre-show notes, it said right in there, don't talk about her hair. She won't do anything with her hair. And so since you brought it up, now I feel comfortable to
Don't talk about her hair. Yeah, no, I mean, you know, hair is, to me, is really fun. It's just that,
They actually
One of the
called you
things
on that? They called you and
What-
said that? They called-
yeah. They were like, we didn't like her hair. So can she change it for next time? I was like, yeah, I can change. What do they want me to change it to? And they said, well, can you twist it? I said, yeah, twist it in 45 minutes. You know, next day I came in, I had twist. I was like, yeah, I can do whatever you want.
Really?
You know, I got a closet full of wigs back there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's
Well, and
pretty
that's why I
interesting.
like voice acting because they never comment on my hair ever. What little bit I have left, there's no twisting, pulling on this stuff.
I mean, you know, it's like, I could change it.
Why not?
No,
That's
so
awesome.
funny. It's so funny.
It's-
And it, you know what, for the movie too, when I went in for my costume fitting, they had like a whole discussion about my hair. My hair has never been so interesting to anyone until I got into this industry. And suddenly I'm having these pop-up conversations happening about what's going on up here. I'm like, whatever you want.
What?
Like, what should we do for her hair? What are we thinking? You know, and they were like texting the director. They were like, you know, for the mom, what are we envisioning? Are we envisioning long hair, short hair? And he was just like, short and natural were his notes. And I was just
Wow.
like, I am on board with him. I am on board with that because to me, that says something too. Like, I will change my hair for a part. That's not a problem. But it's very rare that you see Black women with their short natural hair in a movie. It's always, you know, somehow longer or straighter or it's completely gone. So I kind of loved the fact that he was like, yeah, short and natural.
Well, this has been the Liz Priestley Hair Hour.
Any questions?
Hey, you know
please
what?
leave your comments, you know.
Yeah, comment below on what you think she should do with her hair in the next film. So people are going to tune into Concrete Cowboys to see her hair. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
let alone these
obviously,
top
that's-
shelf actors are in there.
No, it's my hair, obviously.
Whatever we got to do to get them to tune in. That's all it is.
Hey, there's something for everybody. And for all you hair fans out there, this is for you.
You should probably knock down a Liz Priestley hair do Instagram handle so that
Now, see, I don't
get your
have an
hair, your-
Instagram, but
What?
now this is going to make me want to get into Instagram. Like this is going to make me, yeah. All right.
You're not on Instagram?
Look, I am so boring. I have no social media accounts other than a Facebook. Because look, I would be that person on Instagram taking like, I don't know,
Pictures
like
of hair?
pictures of my pillow being like, good morning. Like I'm not creative in that way. I don't know what, you know, like when people take pictures of their food and stuff, I'm like, do people really care what you ate?
Nobody
Is
does.
it that important?
I didn't know from the start that you weren't on Instagram. We may have to start this over. So
at the start of it, I'm on with the boring Liz Priestley, who does not have the social media.
Let's cut this down to 7 minutes. We're good. No, I admire you. I mean, number one, great hair. Number two, no Instagram account. I mean, this is coming together.
Here.
I wish I didn't have an Instagram account. It's like an addiction that won't go away. Everybody keeps telling me to watch this Social Dilemma thing on Netflix, and I started it, but God, is it dull? It's like, you know what it is? It's so weird because they say, hey, watch the Social Dilemma. It's all about social media and how it's changing the lives and whatever. And I find myself looking at social media because the show's so boring. I got to find something to do.
Now that's counterproductive there. I
think that was their plan, to drive more people to like, everybody does that now though.
Yeah. I keep seeing articles and hearing things about how, social media like contributes to mental health issues and like depression and stuff. And I'm like, well, then I probably shouldn't take part. You know what I mean? Like, I've already got enough stress in my life. I just don't like, I have a Facebook and I have like 12 friends. No,
wow.
It's like, I'm not good at social media. That's just not my thing. I'm much more like, send me a text or come visit me. Let's have a glass of wine. Like I'm an old-fashioned letter writer.
Wow.
I like getting mail.
It's all because you were professionally trained in high school how to write letters to given celebrities. But now people can find her on Instagram at Hair by Liz Priestley. And then if you want to actually talk to her, you could go on Facebook.
So don't look for me on Instagram, please.
All right.
I am not there. Find me on Facebook.
We got to wrap this up. We're gonna have to touch base with you a little later on and see what's happening with your hair and all the updates, because
to tell you what's going on with Matt. And so the next time we meet, I'm going to have a different hairstyle.
Yeah, because I don't really care for this one. If you could have it a little different for the next one. You know what? Maybe just go with a hat. If you could go with a hat, that'd be great. No, we want to see what's going on. You've been a blast and a lot of fun. So we'll check in on you. Oh, I can't talk. I speak for a living. We'll check in with you down the road and see what's happening, because it sounds like you're headed in the right direction. So for all of you aspiring actors and actresses out there, you got to keep grinding. It's going to happen. The top.
I think if you're going to break into the film side of the industry, I think I did it in a pretty good way, a pretty impactful way. Hopefully.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens. And I'm told that we should look early next year. Within a few months from now.
For Concrete Cowboys, the official release. And if you let us know, we'll get it out there on our Facebook and our social media, because we have it.
Absolutely.
You don't.
Yeah, absolutely.
So everybody who's looking for Liz, look for her on Facebook. And we'll put some more stuff on the website so people can contact you or follow your career and see where you're headed, because it sounds like you're on the right foot. You're going the right way. So we thank you so much, Liz. You have a great day.
Thanks, Darren. You too. I appreciate it.
That's it. That's the end.
That's a wrap.
Read the shtick.
That's a wrap for today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe and tell all your friends. If you'd like to reach out, you can use the studio line at 612-504-6500 or by email, thedkprojectpodcast@gmail.com. And of course, there's always social media at the DK Project Podcast. Thanks for tuning in.